What is good, ladies and gentlemen? I know I just did a stream literally less than a day ago last night, but wanted to do another quick update just because I know that stream was 30 minutes long and I was talking about a lot of stuff beyond the charts. So I wanted to make something just more shorter, quicker, straight to the point. And yeah, because everything that's playing out right now is literally what we talked about on our stream last night. So figured let's just talk about it real quick, give you guys a quick update. Instead of me making a post, I can make a quick video based on what we're looking at. I'll just focus on the Pulsechain ecosystem for now too, and a lot of wicked stuff, especially in the HEX chart. But okay, so last night I was streaming while we were dipping, right? I wanted to get in as prices are hitting those low prices, and we got just below 0.4 of a penny. We're at like 3.9, flirted with the 3.8 cent range. And we talked about what happened in the past when HEX did go below 0.4 of a penny back in 2024, and price did almost a 10x up to 3 cents, which, yeah, I want to just remind you all, it does not take much to send these prices in this ecosystem. It really doesn't. The liquidity is extremely low, and this is all happening by design. And when you want to get specific wallets that hold power, that are known sellers in this ecosystem, removed, they're not going to do that just on quick dips. But if the price goes low and stays low for long periods of time, that's what causes people like that to sell. Unfortunately, it causes good-hearted people with good intentions to sell too, just because life happens. But that's kind of like there's an ebb and flow with the markets. You're gonna always rinse and wash people out of the markets, rinse them at the lows, rinse them at the highs along the way. And, you know, not everybody's going to make the proper decisions in this market. But anyways, with all that being said, we did end up dropping below 0.4 of a penny for a brief second. But when I streamed, I talked about a potential bounce happening right where we were at, this blue line. And ultimately, that's what happened. First thing we wanted to see was price get to this 42 range. That was the immediate resistance. So I'll go to the 1 hour chart for this because we didn't have much time passed since. Yeah, so we got the bounce and we ripped right through that 42 range. So that early resistance right here, that would confirm, if this confirmed resistance, this would have showed us that price was extremely weak, and price is ready to go down even further. So we got to that resistance and we actually broke right through it. We came up to our ultimate resistance, though, which was this 45 range, which was the important one because you had this bottom right here, bounce. You had 4 bounces essentially off this 45 range as support, and we started to flatline, but the flatline got invalidated and ripped right through. That's the key area that we wanted to pay attention to on more of a macro scale, more of an important area, more of a heavier resistance. And as you see, price hit that range, it just ripped right back down to the 40 level. So you see the immense level of sell pressure that was sitting there. People that are like, man, this people that got rattled last night looking at the sub 4 levels took any chance they can get out of that level. And sure enough, we got big, huge candle down. But look at the bounce again. So we have 2 pretty significant bounces here on the 1 hour chart. So this is kind of an interesting development that we're seeing. Still have to fight this battle here, right? Like this whole entire range, it's not just specifically the skinny line. Like you have this kind of whole range that we're trading in right now. If price can break above this and just get itself out of the 45 range being a resistance area, that's a good sign, and that's where you might start seeing the relief off the bounce that I've been talking about for a while. Once we found our bottom, you're going to see some relief, and it won't just be like a quick, pump up. But yeah, the selling has to end first, obviously. But the fact that we got 2 pretty strong bounces off this 40 range, and especially the second one coming off of a hard sell-off off of this top 45 range, good sign. And we're looking on the 1 hour chart to be trading above that. Now, don't forget, this 47 level is a critical area of support that we looked at on the day candle, right? Like, let's not forget, like this 45 level, how important this has been all throughout the summertime, right? Look at all those bounces there. Look at the bottom there when we wicked under. We found our ultimate low before we ended up deciding to just rip all the way up to almost 1.4 cents. That's a critical level that price was kind of holding for a little bit. Ripped right through, and then we got 2 resistance wicks in the daily on it. So I want to see what happens when price gets back up to 47, and we're almost there. But if price gets here, We don't really want to see that solidify in the daily chart as a resistance level because it could become stronger. But that's kind of the next battle I'm paying attention to on this particular chart. In terms of weekly charts, so I want to get you guys a quick update on that. Remember, we had the bottom candle. We closed above the 72 range, which was critical, but that got engulfed, bearish engulfed. That was the first bad sign we talked about a few weeks ago. That was kind of giving us hints of like, okay, well, maybe this momentum is dying down. Then it got followed up with a bearish doji candle. That doji candle, like we see in many, many scenarios, gets engulfed, right? Same way you got this bearish doji candle that got engulfed. You see these a lot. Getting engulfed. So on the weekly chart, we printed that, and the very next week we just ripped all the way down, right? So something to pay attention to here. And if the week ended today, which it doesn't, it's not even close to ending today. It's only Tuesday, so we got like almost a whole week. But this candle is showing an early on doji candle. So when we're looking at that 1 hour chart, we really need to start trading above. Keep these highs moving because technically you are working on a higher high right here. This is a 1 hour chart. It's very minor, right? So take it with a grain of salt, but you are creating a potential higher high in the 1 hour. But if we see over the next few hours into early tomorrow that we can get to 47 and start working our way above it, then that's going to change what this doji candle looks like, right? It's not necessarily a doji anymore. And ultimately, if we could, in a perfect world, if we can close above 47 to end this week on HEX, you're talking about this being more of a full candle, not necessarily a doji candle. And now you can start considering the next few weeks, maybe into December, about at least filling this imbalance candle halfway like we always talk about, right? So that's a potential possibility based on what we're seeing, but in the current moment it's showing doji. If it closes below 47 this week, it's probably going to give us reason to come back down and visit these lows in the low 40s, even upper 30s, mid 30s potentially too, depending on how ugly or pretty this doji candle does look. So at least we're starting to see how the week is shaping out. We kind of know what to look for. So there's a lot more context and data to work off of in the Pulsechain ecosystem. But just to get you guys a quick update and everything else, purple range we talked about yesterday, prices came back up, so we were down at this bottom here. We wanted to see a push up and then come back to this purple range. Well, we got to the purple range where all these previous support levels are at, just like how we mentioned in HEX. Critical range, right? So right now, if this holds and creates a new lower high, you're looking to just revisit these lows at 19, maybe even work your way under. So you don't want to see just a nice structured lower high right there, because that would just be a typical bear flag. You got the impulse correction set up for a new impulse in that environment. So same scenario that we're kind of seeing in HEX. Daily candle didn't necessarily print a doji. That's nice. So it doesn't look extremely weak from a structural standpoint or from a technical pattern standpoint. But let's see what the weekly candle looks like here. Yeah, weekly candle on Pulse. The price is down so low right now that it's not even a doji candle yet. But if HEX decides to push up the rest of the week, this can pull Pulsechain up with it. But if that happens, and Pulsechain's closing somewhere like below 22, you can be seeing its own bearish doji candle. So that's something to consider and pay attention to. The same way bearish doji there ripped right down. So let's just see incentive token, same thing. It's hitting our range, right? So we found our bottom here, broke through this minor resistance. Actually, it looks pretty strong on the 1 hour chart. Pumped up. So last night we were talking about this where I circled. We talked about coming to this range right here. What happens here? So we actually got to the range, we pulled back, created a higher low, and we ripped right through. Now we're working on a higher high at this 90 cent potential resistance range. So if this thing decides to pull back, which I would expect some form of a fight from the resistance, you have a big range right here that I would focus on tonight into tomorrow. This not big, but this big structural move. If this thing can stay above the 86-ish range, you could be talking business here on the hour chart, and then this thing can start working its way up. But the ultimate high you want to break is 95, 96 eventually. So if this holds resistance, it's really just creating more of a macro lower high. A little bit of a trend there. So you don't want to necessarily see that, but you're probably going to see it right now. But the key thing that you want to focus on next couple days is what incentive token does when it does get resistance at the 86 range, if it does decide to come this low. So yeah, that's a big battle. a lot of context that we have here, a lot of data, things to look forward to. So like we have some sort of story to tell now. I know it's been volatile and messy the past like week or so, but now we actually have some good data to work with. And then not to beat a dead horse, but the PulseX token, we drew it right, had our bottom last night. The first minor resistance range got ripped right through, good sign. And then we drew this blue line that I have right here, breaking above it. And we came down, going to see this pullback here. Critical thing is just to not set new lower lows, but we're potentially seeing a scenario where you're working on lower highs. This could be a third lower high. So the big battle is going to be when price comes down. Just at a quick glance, you're probably going to see the importance of this range, right above this orange range that we had highlighted as of last night, where these wicks ended up at, and then at the top of this engulfing candle here. Kind of seeing what happens if and when we get this pullback. If we can hold and stay above the 13 range in PulseX on the hourly charts, you're talking about a potential push, right? A potential reason to have strength in the market, but you have to see this thing get above 1380 and then start working way above this huge area of resistance on the 1 hour. So you have a ton of structure right here from the 1380 to the 1450 range. So we got some work to do, and the momentum's not on our side just yet, but I'm just pointing out that we have these areas of momentum to pay attention to. So, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. That's all we're looking at for the next few hours into tomorrow. So this is really micro analysis. So we're going to get some answers by probably midday, late day tomorrow. And as soon as we see this start to play out and the possibilities I talked about, whatever one kind of comes to fruition, I'll make another live stream for you guys. And we will analyze the next move to kind of forecast what's gonna happen as we head into the end of the week of this week. So we're also a Mercury retrograde. I know it sounds silly. It's a thing that gets trolled, and I understandably so. Like TA, it's like the grown man horoscope type of thing. That's the common joke in the space. But there's real truth into. There's some reality behind all that silliness when it comes to like astrology and technical analysis and its correlation with markets. Who was it? JP Morgan Chase quote that always sticks out is millionaires know how to read charts, and billionaires know astrology, know how to read the horoscopes and stuff, something like that. I totally paraphrased and didn't get it right, but there is a higher power, a higher intelligence that's bigger and grander than all of us on a human level. And we're in the middle of a retrograde right now, and we're halfway through it. So we've been getting a lot of craziness in the markets from crypto as a whole. Today we had a lot of issues with technology not working, certain cloud features not working. This is some real stuff. I probably sound like a conspiracy theorist, and it sounds silly, but if you guys have any idea of markets in depth and stuff, like there's some truth to all those silly things. But I'm just saying that to keep that all in mind. It's just been a really odd past 9 days or so since the retrograde started. The PulseX sacrifice phase just so happened a couple days into it. All the volatility we're seeing here, the crashing in Bitcoin and Ethereum. So I'll leave you guys at that. And as we start to see these charts play out over the next 24-ish hours, maybe less, maybe more, depending on how much action we get, I'll have a live stream posted again, and we'll go from there. Until then, see you later. Thank you.